Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at this really interesting article I found about sharing
Yeah.
and
Sharing.
Google
Yeah.
Wallet. Have you had a chance to look at this at all?
I have. Yeah. It's pretty wild stuff, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that our phones are already they're like our wallets.
Yeah. Digital wallets.
They're everything, and they're kind of becoming like digital us.
That's right. Yeah. The whole concept of a digital me
Yeah.
is really interesting. And I think sharing is kind of
Yeah.
on the leading edge of that.
Yeah, and this Google Wallet integration is huge. So for anyone listening who's not familiar with sharing,
Yeah.
you could give us just like a quick overview of what it is.
Sure. Yeah. So sharing it's essentially a platform that lets you create and manage what they call verifiable credentials. So you can think of this as sort of like a digital version of your passport or driver's license, but it's way more secure and versatile.
Okay.
And the reason for that is these credentials
Right.
are cryptographically protected.
Okay, so cryptographically protected, what does that mean?
It means it can't be easily forged or tampered with. And you might be thinking well, what's the difference between that and just taking a photo of my ID?
Right.
But it's a world of difference.
Yeah.
A photo, can easily be faked. But when something is cryptographically secured, it means that each credential is linked to your identity using these complex mathematical algorithms that can't really be broken or faked.
Right, so it's really tied to you.
Exactly. The really cool part about this is that you can use these credentials to prove things about yourself, like your age or your residency, without actually revealing all the details on your ID.
That's really cool.
So if you go to buy a bottle of wine, you don't have to show your entire driver's license
Exactly.
with your address and birth date and everything. You just use ShareRing to generate a proof that you meet the age requirement.
Right.
The store gets the confirmation they need. And you don't have to share more information than is absolutely necessary.
I love that.
And that's thanks to something called zero knowledge proofs.
Oh yeah, zero knowledge proofs.
It just sounds very complicated, but it's actually all about simplifying what you have to share.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I think is so cool about this is it's this idea of we are concerned about privacy these days.
Yeah, big time.
We're worried about data breaches.
Yeah.
And this seems like it could give us back some control.
That's right. And that's really, one of the main things that sharing is trying to do.
Okay.
Is really put you back in the driver's seat when it comes to your data, instead of these companies just collecting and storing all this information without our say-so.
Right. Yeah.
It's I sign the terms and conditions so they can have everything.
Exactly.
Okay. So how does this Google Wallet integration work?
So basically, it lets you store your verifiable credentials securely within Google Wallet.
Okay.
So you can access them offline through QR codes or NFC taps.
So I'm picturing, I walk into a concert or a festival and I just tap my phone.
That's the idea.
And I'm in tune.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No more digging through your bag
Right.
for those flimsy paper tickets that you always seem to misplace.
Every time.
Yeah.
And I think speaking of events and stuff, obviously that's one area where this is going to be really useful.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious, for the event organizers themselves, how does this benefit them?
Well, it gives them a higher degree of confidence that the people who are attending their events are actually who they say they are.
Right. Less fraud.
Exactly. So it cuts down on fraud. And, potentially it could even streamline security because you don't need to have people manually checking IDs as much.
Interesting. Do you think this will reach even smaller events, like local gigs or conferences?
I mean, I think that will depend on how quickly venues and ticketing platforms kind of embrace this technology. But the potential is certainly there.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where even a small art gallery opening can manage their guest list and entry seamlessly using this kind of system.
Yeah, it's just so much easier for everyone. Okay, so we've talked about events, but what about loyalty programs?
Oh, yeah.
I'm always here losing those cards.
Yeah.
I've got 1 million of them. just crammed in my wallet.
I know the feeling.
How does ShareRing kind of solve that?
Well, think about how frustrating loyalty programs are now.
Yeah.
You lose a card, you forget which email you used to sign up. It's a mess.
It is a mess, yeah.
Yeah. But with ShareRing, you could potentially link your loyalty memberships to your verified identity.
Okay.
So no more physical cards to carry around, and businesses can be more certain that each member is a real person.
Right. No more like fake accounts or whatever.
Exactly.
To get the point.
Real. Yeah. So it cuts down on fraud and abuse.
Yeah.
And that means the programs themselves
Mhm.
can become more valuable, both for businesses and for loyal customers.
Oh, I see.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah. That's great. So I feel like we're kind of painting this picture of a world that's like so much more streamlined and convenient.
Yeah.
And, the article also mentions travel.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I travel a lot, so I'm always like
Mhm.
really excited about anything that could make that process easier. So how could ShareRing potentially be used for travel?
Well, I mean, it could be used for a whole range of things. Imagine checking into your hotel, picking up a rental car, even confirming your visa eligibility.
Oh.
All with a tap of your phone.
Yeah. And I could see it being used like to prove that you're allowed to drive in a foreign country.
That's right. Yeah, so you don't have to carry around that international driver's permit.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
It'd be really convenient. And, the article even talked about boarding passes,
Oh, yeah.
which is,
That would be amazing.
that's probably a little bit further down the line. But it's certainly something that, could be on the horizon.
Yeah. I mean, the potential for travel is just huge.
It is, yeah. And it could really revolutionize the way we experience the world.
Okay. So we've talked about all these amazing things, but I think we also need to address the elephant in the room, which is privacy.
Of course.
I mean, we live in a world where data breaches are becoming all too common.
Yeah, it seems like every day there's another one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how can we be sure that using ShareRing isn't going to make us more vulnerable?
That's a really valid concern. And it's something that ShareRing has seemingly thought about quite carefully in their design.
Okay. So what are they doing?
Their approach is based on the principle of data minimization. So instead of storing all your information in a central database,
Yeah.
your credentials are kept in your own personal ShareRing vault.
So it's like my own little
Yeah.
digital lockbox.
That's a great analogy. And you're the only one who has the key.
And so ShareRing isn't holding on to all my data.
That's right. ShareRing is not storing your data on their servers.
Oh.
So that significantly reduces the risk of large-scale data breaches.
But how do we know they're not storing the data?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? And I think it's important to be aware of the potential risks as well as the benefits. This technology is still evolving. And I think transparency and independent audits are going to be crucial to building trust in this system.
I see. So to kind of sum up everything we've talked about today, it seems like we've gone from physical wallets to
Yeah.
digital wallets.
Yeah.
And now ShareRing and Google Wallet are taking that to a whole new level.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just about paying for things anymore.
Right. It's about
Yeah.
managing and controlling our digital identities.
That's right. In a way that's both secure and convenient.
And I like how you said
Right.
that it gives us back control.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this technology.
Well, and I think, thinking beyond just like the day-to-day transactions,
Yeah.
I could see this being used for so many different things.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Healthcare records, educational qualifications, professional certifications.
I mean, it really does raise the question
Yeah.
of like, could this be the beginning
Yeah.
of a truly user-controlled digital identity ecosystem?
I think it could be. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
It is pretty wild.
So for everyone listening, what are your thoughts on this? What other areas of your life could you imagine being transformed by this technology? We'd love to hear your thoughts. So thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time.